in danger, and her brother had actually been forced to flee the country.
Tanzania.
The other thing is, of course, around the same time, of course, when the fault lines within the commission finally emerged, and we started saying that the commission was divided down the middle, of course, there was that sense, and when they started issuing out the contradictory statements, there was that feeling that, you know, the divisions within the commission, and people started seeing Akombe as being on one side of that particular division. I think these are issues the media has tried to bring out. What I think we did not anticipate or see is actually her journey coming to this particular point. And I think that, like we have noticed after the elections were nullified, we have seen her reduce her media presence in terms of the appearances and being there to speak on behalf of the commission. Until this week, when we started seeing her, of course, talking about preparations, and a few high media engagements has significantly reduced in the recent past. But looking at it, of course, we have to remember she has been under significant, you know, just like any commissioner, they've been under tremendous pressure. And it was only a matter of time. But I have to, of course, say that this is worrying because so close to the elections, when you take up an IEBC job, you actually understand the pressure. We know what happened to the previous commissioners and even the commission before then. So you understand it's not an easy job. And therefore, at times, I think you may want to consider and weigh very well. Because I remember I once asked her, were you ready for this? Did you actually know what you were walking into? She said she had an idea, but she didn't understand the intrigues and the pressure that she was likely to face, you know, in executing her mandate. So I would say, in a sense, the media has tried to, of course, focus on the issues that are happening within IEBC. And, of course, even the political developments have actually made us focus and look at IEBC. But in terms of questioning preparedness, in terms of questioning IEBC's capacity, in terms of looking at the issues that the political players have raised, for example, NASA's reducible minimum, I know we have covered that extensively, but in terms of breaking down to see what is actually achievable and to see what the commission has done and comparing between what the commission has done, the NASA's reducible minimums, and looking at if there are certain, for example, the commission at times has said we are unable to do this or that. The media, of course, would try to look and interrogate these issues to see whether actually it is consistent, you know, checking whether is there somebody who is being economical with the truth or exactly not bring out the issues as exactly they stand.
All right, Eric, where do we pick this story and how do we develop this now?
I think the story is that we still need to interrogate the statement that was the resignation letter by Akombe. We still have, of course, you've had a very long interview with her, but I think the media still needs to interview her further so that at least some of the issues that she is, because right now she can't help with this country. She's, I think, is not helping this country if she just make a blanket statement that we have commissioners actually who go into a plenary already ready to vote without even having to debate the issues that they are voting on. She needs to tell us that during my time, these are the commissioners I'm talking about. These are the commissioners who are actually taking partisan positions. She said that the chairman is under siege, and I think she needs to tell us, if the chairman is under siege, what is exactly happening in the commission? Who are these commissioners who are frustrating the chairman? The commissioners are also getting instructions elsewhere. Who are these people? She needs now to tell us the names, that these are the politicians who are actually influencing the decision-making at IEBC. And I'm not surprised with her resignation. And actually, I was joking with my colleagues that right now, up to where we've reached, if the stakes are so high and there are a lot of political interest in what is happening in this country, and therefore the commissioners, we might blame the commissioners, but now we've reached a point where these commissioners cannot make independent decisions because that right now they are captives of a political class. And once commissioners have become captive of political class, then even their lives are now in danger. And given that Dr. Akombe had that opportunity, maybe because she has a dual citizenship, she could run to the U.S. What happens to other commissioners who are Kenyan? And I was joking with my friends that right now, if I were a commissioner, what I'll do, right now I'll be negotiating probably to get a political asylum in another country because it reached a point whereby any decision you make, it might not be independent because right now they are captives of political class. And we've seen that in the past, like Dr. Akombe has said, a senior official of IEBC was killed in a manner that actually there are a lot of questions that have been asked. So right now, actually, we shouldn't be demonizing these commissioners, but we should be finding a way how can they actually be left, how can we remove them from the hands of these politicians who are actually causing this problem. Like Dr. Ekuru has said, this is now a political decision that has been made by leaders. Only that I was surprised and disappointed that Dr. Akot is still telling us that he is waiting for the IEBC chairman to pronounce himself in this particular issue. Yet he wants to be a leader. He wants to be the president of this country. He should be telling us that as a political leader, somebody who aspires to be the president of this country, this is what I want happen. Otherwise, we should not have election. But if you're going to have elections for the sake of it, then we are setting a very bad precedent. We should have election that must be seen to be free, fair, and credible.
Dr. Kamau, we only have 7 days to go before the election. And like you've mentioned, there are certain things maybe that we may have left out in terms of giving a very clear picture where we are today. Where do we pick this up from? And what is it that we need to now be focusing on?
There are several things that are very important. The first one, and I think you tried to clarify earlier, legally, what does it mean? Can the commission still continue operating? Is it still legally constituted with the resignation of Dr. Akombe? At least I think that is an issue that has been clarified. Yes, the commission can still go ahead and operate. But I said her statement raised some very specific issues that I think the media needs to probe in terms of the partisan divisions within the commissioners and also the secretariat. What are these interests that they are championing? The other thing, of course, she has indicated that the chairman is under pressure. And I have to say, this is my personal opinion. When I look at Chebukati, he always appears like a man who is committed and willing to do the right thing. But there is a sense in which he also seems to be wavering. You know, and I think she alluded to that at times he tends to respond too much to the external pressure, in a sense that we are not able to see him taking leadership and guiding the commission forward. So we may actually want to understand what are these political pressures. And of course, other people are, trying to, even Dr. Okuru suggested that maybe the chairman could be under pressure to resign, and it has implications. So I think the media may also want to paint these scenarios for us in case there is resignation. For example, the only challenge would be, and the commission will not be able to function if 2 more commissioners resign. And what does that mean? And especially when you consider the process of appointing new commissioners, what does it mean for the 26th election? The other thing, a very important question, she had actually left the country on an IBC mission to supervise the printing of ballot paper. So what happens? Who is supervising? Was she with other staff? And who will now, of course, provide an update on those things? But I think the most important thing from the point of the media, and I think this has been a major failing, I think I need to point out this. I know, for example, last week's withdrawal by the NASA candidate and the ruling by Justice Mativo the following day, there was general confusion among the public. And I think the media, in trying to help us understand and appreciate these issues, of course, you bring the lawyers, but you see some of these lawyers who are openly either working within the presidential campaigns or they are partisan, they will only interpret the law pulling from their side. In a sense, then the opportunity for Wanjiku to be educated and know exactly what is happening, I think this has been my frustration. I also have to give you a specific example, again relating to that, where, because in the mind of the ordinary person, and I have to tell you, on Sunday I had a close engagement with my cousin who is 18 years, but she's very interested in what is happening and she's informed. So the general public is interested in knowing, and the media has a golden opportunity to provide that education, of course, through the coverage. But when in the answering important questions or political questions or legal questions of the day, when we are only getting views from lawyers who are known to be politically aligned, what they are giving is not exactly a proper legal education analysis.
Actually, Rosalind Akombe even mentions this here and says the advice given to them is skewed.
Exactly. It is political. It's meant to achieve certain outcomes. But you have to remember, the media has a cardinal opportunity, of course, to facilitate debate, but also help us understand the issues. It's an opportunity for public education.
And I'll come back to you. I want to release KTN home. And one of the questions that we had asked today, and I want you to think about it, is whether we're at a point where even media houses should openly declare their political alignment, if at all, or journalists. And we'll come to that because, again, it filters down to lawyers, it filters to the panel that you have and all that. But for now, we'd like to release KTN home for Life and Style. To begin, it is 4 minutes to 8, but on KTN News, we want to now cross over to Patrick Abimo, who is at the IEBC headquarters. That's Anniversary Towers, and we're crossing over there. But for KTN Home, we say goodbye. For those of us who are on KTN Home and would like to catch up with what's happening at the IEBC headquarters, and that's at Anniversary Towers with Patrick Abimo, we switch over in just a minute. And I believe now we have Patrick Abimo with us. And good morning, Patrick Abimo. Of course, in the waking up to the news of Rosalind Akombe's resignation, what is the move?